Diddle-a-dum-dum, British Strongman Podcast. So, it's been a couple of weeks since I've spoken to you, Shane. Let's have a bit of a catch-up. How are you doing, mate? So, tell me a little bit about what's next for you with your... What's been going on with your business? What's next for you with your business? I see you going down a few different avenues with your business and that. Would you be able to talk about it? Because I'm really...
Yeah, well, basically, right. The basic thing is for me as a person, I've always been all in on stuff, and for the last kind of year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've been juggling this thing of being an athlete, which requires so much effort, time, and you know what I mean. You know the lifestyle. It's hard, especially when you're trying to push yourself to lifts that realistically haven't been done very frequently at your body weight, and it's just it's a tough task. So balancing that with the business recently has been, well, not recently, probably 2 years, has been a bit of a challenge. And as time's gone by, I've just kind of wanted to, I don't know, I've kind of I guess I found a hobby that I prefer more than lifting, is the best way to explain it. And it used to be I'd be doing certain things and then thinking about training, and I'd be I'm going to do this for my business, but I can only do an hour or two, because if I do more than that, I won't be able to train that day. So I'll only do this. And you know what I mean? And it kind of held my business back. And then recently, last 6 to 8 weeks, I've just been thinking to myself, I really want to just push my business. So what I've decided to do is all the ideas and stuff that I have in my head that I wanted to do that I haven't done because it would stop me training, I just started doing, and then accepted the fact that I'm going to take a bit of a break off training. I'm still going to go to the gym and do stuff, but I needed to separate my two hobbies into just prioritizing one, if that made sense.
Yeah.
So the things that I'm working on at the moment is we've got a clothing line coming out. We've just ordered a load of t-shirts, deadlift socks, wrist wraps, elbow cuffs. Basically everything that you can fucking do, we've ordered. We've also getting a first supplement designed for a supplement brand that we're going to be selling. We've just had a delivery literally today, of all the log pads and dumbbell drop pads. So we're going to be posting them out to the guys that have done the pre-order, and then
So can you give us a bit of details on the log pads for people who haven't seen your Insta story? So log pads details, and then details about the dumbbell drop pads, because I don't know anything about the dumbbell drop pads. I haven't seen any details on them yet. So
yeah, so basically the log pad idea just came from the fact that you need to buy something to drop your log on, and a lot of people they just get tires, or the next best option is kind of tackle pads, rugby tackle pads. And they're quite expensive, considering they're not specific to what you're actually using them for. And because they're not designed for log, after a while, they probably last, they're not a bad investment, the tackle pads. They last a year, I'd say, of decent use. But to me, that's, when you're spending 350, 400 quid on a set of pads, I think it should last longer than that.
Yeah.
And I've gone through, in my 5 years of owning a gym, I've gone through 4 sets of tackle pads, and that's what kind of made me.
To put it into context for people, these the Rhino tackle pads, I've got 2 pairs of. They're great, but like Shane says, after constant use, what happens to them, the Rhino ones, is they feel great to start off with, and then after you use them, they sink down. So when you're getting to the point where, I imagine you're doing, say, even if you go over 100, they start to sink. And then if you're getting up to 120, 130, 140, the logs, your start position changes over the course of as the weight goes up, which is obviously off-putting. And then you'll find that one of them wears more than the other over time. So you'll be starting off usually wonky with them. which, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely brilliant and they're great for dropping overhead. But to put it into context, how much are they, Shane? They're about 200 quid each.
Yeah, I think if you usually they have like some kind of sale on. So if you're lucky, you can get them for like 150 or something.
Yeah, I'm sure I paid like £300 for the pair, which, by the way, like is like the investment was completely worth it for how much use I've got out of them. They're so much better.
Yeah, like I said, over the years, I bought a couple of different sets, so they're definitely worth it. But the problem for me was that's really the only option. And it's not perfect. So that's why I designed the drop pads, so that the foam is like the most stiff, expensive foam you can get. Like it literally will not move. And like the mirror fit pads are all right, to be fair. But the problem with them is they're too short. So you know what I mean. The blocks they're almost like they're not designed specifically for log. So they're kind of like a jump on box, like a plyo box that people use for logging on. So it's only about 50 centimeters wide. And again, like if you drop the log behind you or you do a bit of a dodgy split jerk and you have to go running or whatever, you're not going to land on the pads. So it was kind of like just basically the idea of getting something specific for strongman. So it's got the height of the pickup I've been playing with for ages, so that I've got guys that are obviously quite tall, and then myself it's quite short. So I've kind of been playing with these different pickup heights that work for everyone. So I feel pretty confident that unless you're a freak and you're like 7 foot or something, it's probably going to be the perfect pickup height for you. And the pickup height is not going to change throughout the use. We've been abusing our set for 6-7 months now, and it is exactly the same as day one, which is another thing I'm happy with. We've got gripping material on them so that they don't move. Well, there's still the potential for them to move around, depending on the flooring they're on. But they're a lot more grippy than any other pads. So it won't. It basically, if they move, every pad's going to move. So there's no way around it. But it just kind of helps, like doing a set of 10 or whatever float over, and it'll just help it not be like twisted everywhere. And then, yeah, that's it really. To be honest with them, it was just basically, and we're going to be selling them for roundabouts the same, but basically the same price as what the Rhino pads cost. But you get delivery included as well, because the Rhino pads will slap 50 quid on once you check out for delivery. So it works out even more expensive for them.
So what's the cost, Shane?
At the moment, if you order now, it's £300 delivered to your house for a full set.
Yeah, that's fucking good.
In the UK only, though, at the moment we're doing, because they're just too big to ship it. I mean, if somebody wants to pay the shipping, then we'll ship them wherever. But it's an expensive thing to ship because it's so big.
Yeah, and so as a consumer, not just a mate like Shane's mate, like I'll vouch for these pads and they're great. And it may seem to the people listening who maybe used hires or use like some kind of free setup that they can get together for blocks or whatever. It might sound like it's really expensive, but if you're really invested in improving your log, then it's such a brilliant investment, and it's an absolute. To be honest, right, the guys that I coach who want to improve overhead, say their overhead's lagging and they want to specialize in overhead and whatnot, one of the first kind of things that I give them in the program is to get a setup on the stuff that we can train frequently, the barbell, the axle, the log, the dumbbell, where they can eliminate the eccentric. So basically something where they can drop from overhead. I see so many people getting so strong, but they're just holding themselves back with the skill acquisition element, because they're lowering every rep down to the shoulders and then back down to the ground. And if you're doing that, yeah, you're going to get strong through the eccentric and stuff and build muscle, blah, 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 blah. But if you're doing the eccentric on every rep of like a skill exercise, like an overhead lifting, you're really holding yourself back. So if you're listening to this and thinking you train log and you always do it to blocks, I would go as far as to say you are really limiting your potential, because if you don't have a setup where you can just where you can get it up overhead and then just fucking drop it and ditch it. Because if you just think about it, you're just going to be the lifts that we make. If you're doing max log, or you're doing max log in a comp, the eccentric does not matter whatsoever. It's about the concentric skill and strength that you can display from lifting the weight from the floor to overhead. So basically, if you have this setup, like say for instance using axle on bumper plates where you can drop it, or onto drop pads or weightlifting platform, dumbbell, so you can drop it onto the drop pads, you're going to be able to get, in any given session, in any given, like say, hour of training, you are going to be able to get more reps in if you eliminate the eccentric. What would you say? What do you agree, Shane?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm talking specifically. I'm not saying eccentric phase wouldn't be useful for overhead.
Yeah, for skill, because you're gonna avoid, if you do a skill session, you want to recover from it well, don't you? You don't want
exactly.
Don't want it to impede the next session too, because you've got DOMs, because you've done all these eccentrics. So yeah,
exactly. So we've got that solution with the tackle pads, but this is just an even better solution.
Yeah, my idea with it is, all the people that have bought tackle pads, this is my theory in my head, because I'm doing this to make money as a business, but also, the things that I'm doing are things that I want to see. Like, I want to be able to sit back in 5 years and, like, when I look at the sport of strongman online, that's my thing is that I want to see people using my kit, basically. That's kind of like, helping the sport, helping athletes get better. That's why with the drop pads, to be fair, there's not that much money in it, to be fair, because if I'd have used the cheap, because this is the thing, right? When you get into looking at foam types and stuff, every time I see tackle pads and drop pads, I look at the foam now, because you can literally spend 200 quid on foam to make them tackle pads, or you can spend 30 quid. And obviously, the 30 quid is the cheaper type that's not going to last, going to buckle, it's going to dent, it's going to, but then you'd make all this money profit. But then we didn't really want to do that, because the product would be shite. And the idea is to release something that, like I say, it's kind of a terrible business model, really. I wanted people to buy my log drop pads and not really know how long they're going to last. I'm hoping they'll last like 5+ years, which, means they're not going to rebuy them. But that's kind of like the idea of the product, is I want it to, like, someone buy it for their home gym, for example, and they never have to buy anything again to drop the
mate, I get it completely, and I see it because obviously I know you better than most people listening, and I know that, say, the profit that you do make, you're just going to fucking reinvest it in stock anyway.
Yeah, just go back into
like the idea of what we're kind of both doing is, like, we both want to just make the sport better. And if you could if you could break even but get your log pads to fucking 100 people throughout the UK who are fucking buzzing about it, like, that's what you're going to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and the difference with the dumbbell drop pad, weirdly, is when we were testing everything, the thing I wanted is I wanted you to be able to drop your dumbbell and it just like boom, get absorbed, because obviously the worst thing as a gym owner is when you're or even if you're at home gym, is you drop your dumbbell and it bounces off the pad, lands on your patio or lands on the astro upside down. So we needed to get a foam that didn't have any bounce. So weirdly, with the dumbbell one, the cheapest, most shit foam is the best foam to use, because it's almost like a sofa cushion, and that's where I use sofa cushions at yours, and that's the best thing I've ever dropped a dumbbell on. It just takes the dumbbell.
Yeah.
So I was wanting to replicate that, but again, people who are designing these products that for drop pads and that, they're not specifically designed for a dumbbell, so they actually go with slightly better foam. But then it causes the
bouncy. Yeah.
So the dumbbell drop pad is going to be pretty cool, because we can make it really cheap because it doesn't have the greatest foam in it, so it doesn't cost that much for us.
Yeah.
That means we can sell it cheap. So it means it's going to be really cheap to buy. And I think that's going to be a really good investment. Whether or not you'll be able to use it for stones and stuff, I imagine you will. But I'm getting one to test the end of this week / start next week. So I'm going to test what I think it's like best used for. And then I'm going to have a play, because at the moment it's just for the dumbbell, but it probably does have multi-use, but we've literally made it for a dumbbell. So yeah, and then what else have we got coming? Oh, then the only other thing that I'm working on, the thing that's taking up most of my time, is MSTBOT's going really well. Loads of good feedback on it. We've got loads of people on it now, but there's a couple of flaws in the system. So I'm investing in an app that is specific to MSTBOT, which is going to be fucking amazing. It's like about a 6-month project, but the idea of the app is that the user can download the app. They sign up to the subscription, which is going to be roughly £30 a month. So it'll be a little bit more expensive, about £5 or more than what you pay for MSTBOT now. But you're going to get access to, basically you'll log in, and then it'll be like build. You can click build program, and then what you're going to be able to do is build an MST Systems approved program with all the detail that's in MSTBOT at the moment. But what you're going to be able to do is select what phases and what you want to work on yourself, instead of having to go through the phases in order that I have wrote. So at the moment, the big flaw in MSTBOT is, I want to work on my axle. Well, this phase of training that you're getting through TrueCoach is logged, so I can't change that unless I were to go in and manually do it, which the whole idea of it is it's kind of automated. So I don't do
and
that.
That's what, like, the cost is reflected in that, isn't it? That's why it's such an affordable thing for everybody, isn't it? Because of the automation.
Yeah, so the app is basically going to solve that. And what people are going to be able to do is, on the deadlift day, they're going to be able to click deadlift, and then they'll basically see all these training phases with descriptions of what they'll get out of them. So it might be like a skill acquisition phase where you're just building positions. It might be an isometric, eccentric, and whatever. You can pick whatever, but you can specifically design it to your own needs. So if you know you need to work on your log dip mechanics, when you click your log program, you'll be able to select this one because it works on, press from the chest and dip strength as priority. And then once you build it all together, it will get collated into a program that will get popped into another section of the app that you can access and fill out, very similar to TrueCoach, because I quite like the TrueCoach system of like logging exercise history and stuff for the client. So we're kind of building that in. Obviously, I won't be able to see that because the goal is that I don't look at the client's programs, but this is for the client themselves, so that if they have a program in 6 months' time of deadlift, they can look back at the history of what they got on the rep maxes and stuff, and just collate it. So we're working on that. That's going to be that's going to be like half a year, maybe 8 months.
I've got an idea of what you can do for that, Shane. To like an offer, like an upsell, another layer of service, more value or whatever. What you could do is you could get like say have where the client can book like a consult with an MST Systems approved coach. So like, say for instance, Curtis or Flash or whatever, and then they book in a consult, say over like this, what we're doing, like Zoom, where they can both see the screen in front of them, and then they can have the coach. They can pay for the coach's time, like a one-to-one session or whatever, to basically build the program with them, for the phase. So they could have like the coach working with them on this consult, an hour session every 8 to 12 weeks, and then they could build the program together. What do you think about that?
The thing is with this is it's like there's so many opportunities with it, like you say, to do stuff. And someone told me something a long while ago, but for people listening that are coaches and stuff, this is one of the best advices I got. Or even if you're just in business, someone told me, like, instead of looking at doing stuff to make money or to like change anything in my life, look at like make an impact on what you love and what you want to do, and look at setting goals to make changes in the right direction in like the sport I'm in, for example. Put that first as top priority and put money or profit last. And since I took that approach about a year ago, I've probably accidentally made 4 times more money than I fucking would have done if I didn't, because like I say, with the log pads, it was more about getting the pad out to the consumer at a cheap, affordable price. And you know, we've not really made any money on them yet. But once they start selling, hopefully over the next year, I'm hoping to like drip feed. I don't know, one a week maybe. I don't think I know, but whatever, you know. I will, if even though there's not that much money in them, because of the effect they're going to have on the sport and the people, I'm hoping that it'll just allow more people to buy them. And if I can get multiple products out,
yeah,
help the sport. You know, that's what, because I would never have released a dumbbell drop pad. Really, it sounds fucking random. But I was like, well, people need them. So even if I sell,
that's it. It's like, for instance, like you come and train at mine, which like obviously it's like a fucking awesome equipped facility for strongman. But it's like where and you look at some of the other stuff and it's like it's all nice and we've got like fancy bars, fancy plates, fancy logs, big selection of everything. But then the best thing that we're all picking when we're training dumbbell is like a fucking wanky, disgusting cushion with like a mat duct tape to it because it's like the best thing.
yeah,
in terms of performance, isn't it? Like
yeah.
so there's a definite gap there, isn't there?
What about you though, Joshua? And that's pretty much all the things I'm doing. I noticed that you were on a Facebook thing about 105s. Is that something that you've taken on now, or was that just a cheeky message you put?
No, it's just Luke messaged me yesterday saying that saying about the 105s need like Craig's maybe giving it up or whatever, and that would we fancy doing it or whatever, and yeah, I think it'd be great, wouldn't it? Like just like we've got everything that we need. We don't need to.
Is it something you're considering then? You got the time and everything to do it?
Well, yeah, like really the under 80s comp that we've made because basically it's like this network, isn't it? It's the network of people, the network of bringing people together. That's what I seem to be good at in terms of like it's not necessarily the running of the day. Like I didn't even fucking do it on the day because I had like people doing their individual jobs and stuff who were a lot better than me at those specific jobs. So I seem to be good at getting people like rallied together in terms of networking and stuff like that. So like for me, like you say, like it's not that much effort. Like I know that I wouldn't have to put too much effort in and too much time to put on like a fucking absolutely awesome show. Like we've proved with the under 80s thing, and I think quite a few people may have been surprised with how good the under 80s the whole thing was. Whereas
and the fact that it was on official strongman and everything. I bet the one off.
That's it, and they got those links, and then I don't know if I told you, but like spoke to Lynn, who does the official strongman games, and he was like, I felt really cheeky asking him about the qualifying spot initially. And then he was like, yeah, you can have the qualifying spot, but they have to finish in podium, blah, 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 blah. And then he's seen, obviously, the footage of what we've done. And I said, oh, the guys who finished on the podium have already qualified for OSG. Would there be, because of the caliber of the competition, it's like not been seen before in the UK, do you think you'd consider letting it roll down? And then I gave like a bit of a profile of, say, I think it was Andy Smiles and
Andy, Flash and Dean were the people underneath, weren't they? And they'd all already previously competed maybe twice at so I think Andy's definitely done one. I don't know if he's done two. Flash and Dean have done two, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. And the guys that finished it in fifth and sixth were like we've got those like an invite to the OSG. So
that's good.
So basically, I think 7 out of the top 10 have got invitations for official strongman games.
That's brilliant. That's really good, and that just shows the standard as well. on the day, doesn't it? That yeah, it's absolutely awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. But like, say that the model that we use for that, like, I think a big thing, Shane, is like the prize money thing. Is like, it's just so easy for me to put up a prize pot because, like, I've kind of got a network that I can like, I know that I'm not going to be spending loads. It's not going to cost me a load of money to put on a show. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. What did I say it cost me for the Britain's under 80s? 31 quid. I think it was 31 quid I spent on that comp. Which that's a big barrier for some promoters, isn't it? Like, they have to spend a load of money on, they have to, in terms of breaking even and stuff. Whereas
they're not thinking they're not going into running a show thinking about how they can make it better than the last show. They're always thinking, all right, how many t-shirts do you sell? How much can I spend on trophies? There's always money worries with the comp, and I think if you eliminate the money, then you can just focus on, like, right, what I'll do it fucking better than last time. If you just, like, it's kind of going back to what I got told before. If you just focus on a different thing with money, like, you just focus on running the best show possible, you'll probably end up, if you put the effort in, and even if you don't have, like, to other people listening, if you want to run a comp, if you don't have a network, be a cheeky comp. This is another thing I've learned over the years, is go into some local businesses and just ask people, like I think it was Lucy Unders, maybe. It might have been somebody else. I feel like it was Lucy. I might be wrong though, but she got a bit of prize pot help with a deadlift prep, I believe, off of like a random car garage, or it might have been somebody else. Actually, I'm getting confused. It might have been Mitch, actually. It was Mitch Flowers, but whatever. He just went around and asked these local companies, and he got like a fucking car garage or something. Said, "Oh yeah, we'll give you a couple £100, and these are the people," just to get like a bit of a banner. And that does two things. The banner looks good, round a competition, and you got sponsors and stuff. And then you get, as soon as you get 300, 400 quid, that's all the money worries taken away. Because realistically, how much are you going to spend on t-shirts and trophies, that's going to, take up most of your budget. And then maybe you've got some left you can put towards a bit of an arena or whatever. Like a bit of a different venue, so not an arena, but a venue. And then you can say to the athletes, like, look, I was going to charge you 20 quid to enter the comp, but I'm going to make it 25 because I've got a venue now. Is that okay? Who the fuck's going to say no to a fiver to have a better venue? And then you can make a little bit of money that way. And, I just don't think if you put the effort in the graph, then I don't think it's that much of an issue. I think what's happened with the strongman scene over the years is, all these promoters have been going 10 years, and I love them all. They've done amazing for the sport, but there's only so much that, you can't be sprinting for 10 years. And it's turned into it's just a bit of a plod now, and it's the same shows, similar events, similar stuff every year, and the sport isn't going in a direction. And I think that Craig handing it over to you is going to be really good for the sport, even if he hands it to somebody else.
Shane, I don't think he is, to be honest. But anyway,
what do you mean you don't think he is?
Well, like, there's been no conversation or anything like that. But anyway, I've got some.
All right. Well, whatever. I just think I've said this for years though. It needs to be a young man's game now. You know what I mean? That's what I think. The way this sport goes forward in the lightweight categories is the people that have, like, people like me, for example, that grew up and competed in strongman underneath these promoters. We know the flaws and the things that we can change and the things that we can do better. We have a better understanding of using social media. We have a better understanding and connection with the network of people involved. So if we fucking grafted it, I think we can make it level up, basically. And you already did that with the under 80s. And that was more of like a little bit of it was for you, it was almost like a bit of an experiment. It was like a bit of a tester. Like, if I really tried and put effort into this, what would happen? And you managed to do all that. And now you've got a baseline level of competition that I know what you're like. You'll want to do better than that the next time. Even if it's a 105 comp or a 90 comp, you'll want to be improving your presentation of the comps and stuff.
Yeah, well, anyway, whatever happens, like I know that I've got, in terms of running comps and stuff, I know that I've got a model that's going to 100% improve the sport, and it's going to force the sport to improve. Because, say for instance, like, well, I've got some ideas that we're going to regardless of what happens with going forward. Like, I've got some ideas that's actually going to be able to make the sport directly better in terms of comps that I'm directly involved with, but B, that's going to force other people who are running comps to raise the game. You know, like a little bit like what you're saying, but a little bit like you said before about, like, say, changing, like, say, coaching and online coaching and stuff, and just basically raising the standard across the thing, which is it's just gonna mean that that everybody else has to raise the game to keep up. Do you understand what I mean?
That's great, because like you say, it's
because, right, I've got some fundamental things that I'm going to improve that we've started to show already, but, like, I'm one of those people that, obviously, people who know me closely, like, will back me up, that, like, I can't stand, I hate it when people, like, are quite negative and, like, pick holes in other things and say, oh, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit. I hate doing that, because I suppose, like, I like to put my money where my mouth is, kind of thing, and I like to, like, walk the walk, and, you know, not just say things, like, pick holes in things. I like to provide solutions to things and actually think, you know what, like, this thing that I've kind of noticed there's a problem in that little thing that could easily be fixed for years. Like, I want to be one of those people. Well, I am going to be one of those people that actually makes a difference and provides a solution, and yeah, can definitely do that. And by the way, right, this is like, this is all constructive conversation, by the way, about the sport of strongman. Like, it's not that, I think some of the stuff that you've just said, like, could be, I say, some people could take it in a negative way, but
yeah, but I mean it in a negative. That's why I said
no.
Just, I mean, the thing is, you know me, Josh. I just say fucking the way.
Yeah.
And people get offended by the way I say stuff, but it's just true. Like, you know what I mean? People that have been running, like Mark Cherry, for example, he has kind of been able to progress with the times, so to speak. He's been able to run a different comp. He's been changing venue. I've done a couple of Mark Cherry comps all over the place. So Mark's some money, and he's been in it for years. But at the same time, I've done the Northern Qualifier that Bob's ran for, and I'll say this to Bob's face, like, you should do the same thing. I do the same events. That's why I don't do under 19 Northerns anymore, because I find it, you know, I've not done it for like 4. I think I had a 3 or 4 year break, and then I went back and did it again, and I did the same events that I did the first time I did the Northerns in like 2012. So, you know, of course I'm going to say, well, you don't change anything. You just do the same thing every year, because it's literally been the same for 12 years. And then England's under 90 used to be very similar until Ben France took it on, and then Ben France got it into Saltaire Sports Centre. We had an indoor venue. We had all this prize money, all these sponsors, all these things. You know, we had a videographer there videoing it. All the old Englands are on YouTube. I mean, it's not as professional as what Official Strongman did, but it went there, and then it started getting ran at, you know, by some time, I can't remember who ran it now. It's just like different promoters here and there running England's, and it just kind of got passed around and didn't ever progress from that. And I'm not saying those comps are bad. I'm not sort of say they're bad, they're fine. I'm just saying that, you know, in 2014, you were in an indoor arena, you had all these sponsors, all these prize monies. I remember people won like under 80s, you won a Husafeld. I'm pretty certain there was like a Husafeld or some random prize, you know, one of the Englands, and then there was just all these opportunities basically. But then they just fizzled out because nobody grabbed that and improved on it. They just like grabbed it and were like, oh, I'm running England's now, I'll run it my way. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that it's bad that this is the thing. I'm just saying that I envision the sport in 5 years, under 90s, under 80s. I think that these athletes should be just as renowned and, you know, have fans and shit, like just like the open guys. Like, you know what I mean? That's and I just look at the sport and I go, are they ever going to get there if somebody who's promoting it just runs the same comp? Like, for example, how many people know about England's Strongest Man on the 90 that just happened? Probably only the people that follow lightweight strongman. There's nothing like pushing it out there to everyone, is there? You know what I mean? There's nothing, yeah. And that's mainly what I mean by a young man's game, because these people that are running it, they're a bit older than that. They don't fucking know what social media. They don't know how to run it. They don't know. You know what I mean? They can't advertise. They don't have pages. Look at an Ultimate Strongman page. That's brilliant. You know what I mean? For the opens, and now they've got the Ultimate Strongman women's comp coming up. The England Strongest Woman, I think it is. It's called. They're going to be getting loads of stuff out. You know, loads of media. Look at Lucy. In the last 4 weeks, Lucy's like fucking doubled the following, getting all these offers, all these opportunities, just because somebody pushed her in front of a load of people, a load of cameras. You know what I mean? She turned up to comps the other day, and was people asking her for photos and stuff. You know, she was just watching the comp, and she's like, I can't believe it. It's like proper weird. Like, people are asking me for photos, and I'm like, well, they should do, because you're a fucking savage. I was like, but you were a savage before you pulled 300 and got in front of everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just that nobody.
You know what, Shane? You're right with that. It was funny doing Preston's comp the other day. That was great, by the way. And like someone asked for a photo with the twins.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But it should be. The guys have got 350 deads at fucking 80 world record deadlifts, and they're class as well. You know what I mean? They just. This is what I mean. Like, the more people like that get in front of a camera or pushed on social media and just out there and people view them, that's what's going to help the sport grow. Because as much as people, like, this is one thing that made me laugh at. One of the guys who runs, I can't remember who it was, they called me the social media age, and you just run your business. You only have a good business because you're popular on social media. You only do this. I'm like, yeah, I did that on purpose. Like, I got popular on social media on purpose because, like, I know how the world works nowadays. I can't just pretend I don't like social media. I'm going to run my business successfully without it. So, well, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, people, like, the phone is like, or the internet is like the connection with every single person in the world instantly. And if you use it right, you can build stuff upon it. And this is the thing at the moment, is if you get the twins out in front of everyone, like, imagine if the twins got an opportunity to pull a deadlift at Giants Live or something, because they were going to go for 480 kilos, which wouldn't surprise me if in the next 2 years they were. You know what I mean? They get on Giants Live, boom, social media explodes. All of a sudden, thousands of people that love strongman are like, what the fuck, there's an under 80 scene? Like, I didn't even know there was an under 80 scene. Now you might have an influx of competitors, influx of sponsors. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult to do it realistically when you break it down as simply as that. It's just literally, you got to put people like that in front of the camera. Like Flash's social media. Official Strongman shared his dumbbell, and he said his social media went mad. All these fucking coaching inquiries, all these messages, all this stuff, just because all these people that didn't know he existed saw him do something that we see him do every fucking Friday when he was dumbbell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant. And the thing that what I was going to say before, like you're saying about other people and stuff, like it's not like a negative thing, like saying what other people are doing and whatnot. But we just got to remember that this sport is fucking in its infancy. So like people saying that, oh well, this is how the way we should do it because this is the way it's always been done. How old is the sport? It's like decades old. It's not fucking centuries old, is it? It's not like you're looking back to 100 years ago, and like it's just new. So all these new little twists and everybody can put their own positive spin on stuff. Like there's so much opportunity for the sport is just changing and developing all the time, isn't it? So people are like closed to like seeing other ways that things can be run and things. I don't know.
I don't mean negative. I love all these comps. Like Bob's comp, I love Bob's comp. I'd probably go do a Bob comp for a bit of fun if I wanted to. It's just that I'd sit next to him eating fucking food with him, and I'd say to him same thing, like your comp's the same for 10 years, and he'd probably laugh and say, yeah, it is. I've not bought any more equipment, because it's just the way it is. And that's why all I'm saying with these things is like,
yeah,
it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just that they've lost that drive to improve it, because they've already improved it loads. They've already done, you know what I mean? It's hard to do that, to keep pushing and changing stuff for years and years.
Yeah. I suppose the answer of this is strongman kind of thing. Whereas I think that definition of this is strongman can be completely, well, is going to be completely changed in the next 5-10 years, and it's going to be like there's just so much opportunity to elevate it so much. And
yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, in the last 3 to 5 years, the online coaching business, so we say, around strongman has blown up. Okay, this is to me, because I watch these things from fucking aside, and I look at like the way it goes, and every strongman now gets a coach. And before that, there was always the thing of there's no money in strongman. There's no money in strongman. Now there is money in strongman, and you know where it's going? To the fucking coaches, which is why I feel like we play. I've said this to lots of people. We play a big part in the evolution of the sport, because we need to make sure that we reinvest in areas that are going to improve it long term, instead of just sitting back, you know, with meaty pockets, being like, let's fucking, you know, this is great. There's loads of money in strongman. Well, 80 people paying me or whatever, you know. It's like, well, yeah, they do, but you need to make sure that we're, you know, reinvesting in the sport, because that's why we can put a little bit of prize money on. We can, you know, get some kit. We can speak to sponsors and stuff, and, you know, just wing stuff a little bit, because and basically just push the sport forward. Like imagine if there was money in strongman. You know what I mean? Like it'd be good. It'd be great, because you get a better athletes for starters. You know, like all the powerlifters that go and do comps with prize money. They might be like, oh, there's a under 90 comp here. You know, you got Bilbo Swaggins. He might be doing John Hack. He might be doing the under 90 worlds. Again, all these bigger names. That's just more exposure to the weight classes and stuff. And it would just be, I don't know. I think strongman's class, and I think it should be fucking really popular. I reckon under 80s. That under 80s, if that was filmed like TV style, you know, and condensed into like 3 shows or something, I don't fucking know. I'd sit there and watch that. I thought it was fucking mint. There was so much like good stuff going on. But again, someone just needs to like start doing it.
Yeah. So what? The other thing as well, like give us an update how like your guys are doing, your clients are doing. We don't really talk about it on here, do we? But like, because I think we're both a bit modest really in what we're doing with people, but like we've both had fucking some like awesome sets of results recently. Like,
yeah, you've had some mad stuff recently, haven't you? Fucking Tim, you need to slow Tim down.
But like say for instance, you with like say with the what was it with the England Strongest Man qualifier, the Opens? How many qualified? Was it 10 MST lads?
It was 10, but then someone dropped out, so another one of my guys got in. So we got 11 going England Strongest Man, yeah, which is pretty fucking class. Literally half the field, well, more than half the field is MST lads, which is pretty cool. Because I was literally known 3 years ago, well, maybe even 2 years ago, as a lightweight strongman coach. Like Opens wouldn't touch me. And now it's weird. Like I pretty much mainly coach Opens.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just kind of like flipped that way. Started getting a few, and then I maybe had about 10 when Luke R came on, and then I think the Luke R kind of just like opened up the, it opened up conversation with Opens guys. They'd already spoke to me a little bit, but they were a bit reluctant because they were like, "Oh, he makes you do this, makes you do that. It's for lightweights," and then they come on and go, "Oh, I actually needed to do that stuff that I've been avoiding."
Well, that's it. It's like that's the social proof, isn't it? Like they look around and they see like the other bigger guys doing these kind of methods that other people don't do, and then everybody's lifts are blowing up, and the like all their aspects of strongman are improving.
Yeah. So we had a couple of good things recently. We had Mark Felix at Worlds. I was really, really buzzing with his performance. I know he didn't qualify to the final, but what I was happy with was there were so many weak areas that he had in his game that I've been working on. Like the medley, for example. I've been really hammering his medley, really hammering his forward hold. And I knew the pressing was going to hold him back. And we were really unfortunate on the train push because it wouldn't have made any difference looking back anyway, because he would have still been in the stone off against Tom. So, it's kind of like, it's a tough spot to be in that. But it was a train pull. So we'd been training train pull, and he was really good at it. We'd been on a sled and stuff, so it's a little different, but it's a really good event for him, is that pull, because with like the rope as well, he's got crazy strong grip. And, for him, changing that to a train push and making you go behind the train and push it. He's not the biggest guy there as well. So it kind of slightly was a bit of it was a change that fucked him over a little bit, basically. He ended up coming last in that, whereas I think he could have won that. It wouldn't have changed anything because he would have still been stuff. But I was really buzzing with Mark's performance because obviously when he came to me, he was on a decline in strength and performance because of his age and his training methods. He's on a decline. So for me to be able to flick him and start him going on an incline again, and manages, like, I've never trained someone that, you probably never will. He's very unique because he's old, but he's very strong. So managing his recovery was like a bit of a, learning curve for me. Like, I had to just basically wing it and figure it out as I go. And I felt like I got into a good stride with him the last kind of 8 weeks to Worlds, and I was just buzzing with his performance, to be honest. I was really proud. And then obviously Luke's was a bit disappointing with the injury. I'm really, really gutted for him. But I'm hoping that he, is able to do the recovery period and stuff and get over that mentally, not just physically. Physically, you can always get over them things, but mentally it's like difficult. And then we had Lucy pull the 300 kilo deadlift record as well. So yeah, recently over the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks or something, we've had quite a lot of good results. Flash with the dumbbell record under 80, and coming fourth, I think he came, or fifth, was it? I don't know. Yeah, with loads of good stuff. And you've had a good run as well, haven't you? Well, you yourself and clients as well.
Yeah, it's been really good. But like you said, like most of your kind of niche, like the open level, top level open guys. Whereas I suppose my passion is like the lightweights, like under 80s, under 90s, under 63, like under 64s, whatever. Like I just love it, absolutely love it. But yeah, done well at the under 80s. I think we had we have five in the top five who made it to the top 10. One or two lads just outside. And I did well at the under 90s, so I won England's. And then we had Jake and Dan, who were very close behind, third and fourth.
Is it settled in that England's win yet?
Say again.
Is it settled in that England's win?
Yeah, it's good. Like, just had like mindset shift since it, really.
You proud?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah, because like like I'm proud because not because I think I'm fucking strong or an animal or anything like that, but it's just because like I said I was going to do it a while ago.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't in any, it wasn't like an emotional commitment to saying, oh, I want to win England. It was like a really well thought out thing that, look, I'm going to do it. I'm not bothered how long it's going to take, but I am going to do that. And then since then, like I feel like my next big goal that I've been thinking about for, well, not necessarily next, but like a big goal is to win a world championship in strongman. And
Got to say something.
Go on.
By the way, I have been in strongman a long time. I've seen a lot of people who train hard. All right, I've seen people that I always thought to myself, "Fuck me, you train hard." But Josh trains harder than anybody. Not hard. I won't say harder, because people are going to get the wrong idea. Josh trains more intelligent, more volume frequency more often, and just better than anybody that I've ever really come across in his application to the way he does, you know, the strongman training he does. He's not shy to come in and spend 4 hours doing light stuff that people wouldn't even bother doing, because he knows that he needs the recovery, but he wants to continually improve. So he'll go in and just spend fucking an hour with an empty log practicing his fucking, you know, return on his split jerk, making sure he's stepping in the right place or whatever, you know. He'll do that stuff. And it's not just a one. I mean, anyone who follows me on Instagram knows I see people do stuff like that as a one-off. Oh, I'm coming in, I'm doing this thing, and they'll put it all over the gram and make a big deal out of it. Josh just does it every single week for the last fucking like 2 years.
Yeah, it's been just over 3 years now. I've trained exactly like that.
Because when you won England's, I thought, you know what? No one in the world can say that you didn't deserve that. Like, literally, no one. Even if they fucking don't like you, no one can say anything about that, because it was just, I think it was really well deserved and well earned. And I think you should be fucking, you know, proud and chuffed for yourself. Because I don't know anybody that could have done what you did as consistently. Like sometimes I've seen you like be during Corona and stuff, you'd be like moving your gym out and spending fucking 12 hours, well, 12 hours telling other people to move it properly, but 12 hours grafting in the gym. And then you'd go and hit your session fucking afterwards at silly o'clock, and you're in the broom room, and you know what I mean? I just think that you not all the excuses that were presented to you, you didn't take any of them, and you just continued on. And I think it's fucking class, mate. So well done.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like kind of what I keep saying, like with a lot of the other guys who've done well recently. It's been all the guys that have done well recently. They've been reaping the fruits of the labour recently. Like it appears that you're on form at the minute or whatever, and it's just like these are guys that have been doing a similar thing to me, for just been like relentlessly consistent, and
yeah,
all the little knockbacks or whatever. It don't fucking matter. You still turn up, and we just modify this, and we still keep going forward. And that's
everybody always looks at the peak though, don't they? Like when you're peaking towards a comp or you do a good performance in a comp, they look at the acute training and go, "What have you done recently to do that?" Instead of being like going back 3 years and being like, "I've been doing the same thing for 3 years." It's just
well, that's it. Some people sometimes message me on Instagram saying, "Oh God, you're looking strong at the minute," or "You're on foot. Your thing looks good at the minute," and I'm like, fuck me, it like offends me. It offends me. It's like, well, nothing. There's never, like, I can't take big jumps. I can't recover from taking fucking massive jumps in. You know, I can't just decide that I'm going to put 5% on what I did last week. Like, I just can't do it. I'll fucking kill myself. But it's just like, it's just always like 1% improvement across the board every week. That's my kind of philosophy. But anyway, this kind of like mad approach that people have been looking at me training for the last couple of years and saying, you know, you're fucking mad. Like, how do you recover doing that? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I've got like a proven track record with doing it with clients as well now.
Yeah.
And seeing you know, like say, what was I saying? So like done well at the under 80s, done well at the under 90s. There was like about 5 or 6 of us who did England's final under 90s. The BNSF under 90s, we had the guy who won that, Craig Lewis. The guy at the weekend won the Wales under 90s and came third against the untested lads as well. Bradley, he was great. And then at the Souths we had Dan Benson who won the South, and then at the North there was me and Jake who came second and third to Pigman, who was great. And then at the BNSF under 80s we had Joe and Tim and Joe first and second. We've got a couple of lads doing the 105 Spritz UKs. That'll be interesting to see how those lads get on. But again, you were just following like a similar kind of methodology. Like people are seeing them kind of those lads train and think, fuck me, if people look at it and don't understand everything that's written down, it probably just looks like madness. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like you kind of your deadlift session, then your assistance work, and then you've got your overhead day, and then your bench day. It's like, it just probably seems like chaotic to the untrained eye. But when you
imagine you pick it as like, right, this is your overhead for the day, and you're working on this, and the goal of that is to come away with like a better, maybe it's building volume or a better split jerk position or whatever, but they're building a skill that's applicable to something they can apply in a competition. Is that kind of more? Yeah,
it's like my philosophy is like practice the thing that's going to be practice the sport that you're competing in. As simple.
Somebody had overhead, sandbag carries, and then fucking whatever else, dumbbell or something. I don't know. They're ticking off 3 skills of the sport, aren't they? But you couldn't say that I'm doing overhead with sandbag assistance, and then they're just doing overhead work for their axle, building the skill on front carries over distance or whatever, and then they're working on the dumbbell or something.
Yeah, like say for instance, if they're doing a session like that, it might be they're doing their axle as the main lift, where they're going for like a neural response, say, and then they might be, say, doing some volume accumulation with a different kind of thing, and then when they're fucked, they might be doing some instead of doing some like mindless assistance exercise where they're thinking about going home for tea. We're giving them something to concentrate on that's going to make them sharper when they come to go for the neural response 3 days later on that specific exercise. They're fucking red hot with the kind of positioning and stuff like that. So yeah, like I suppose the kind of more improvement, I suppose the more success I've had as a coach, like the kind of less exercises that I've given the client really, and more specific stuff, and just honing in on doing the stuff that matters the most a lot better, and manipulating the intensity. So obviously to facilitate recovery and stuff.
I'll ask you a question. I want you to write it down because I want you to answer this next week, because I know it's going to be a long answer soon. But your opinion on, because your training method is obviously quite unique, but it would be more to do with, the questions to do with like, have you noticed a difference in response from natural athletes to enhanced? And if so, like, explain it. Well, we'll go over that next week because that's a good question. But
yeah, cool. And then with we'll talk about that next time. And then also the girls as well. Like Molly's done really well this weekend. She's been competing. She can join first on points at BNSF under 75s, is it? It was just brilliant over like in terms of progress. Like last year at England, it was 60 log and she did 60 for 1. And then what did she do on Saturday? 55 log and she did 11 reps, floor to overhead. Fucking madness.
That's some improvement, isn't it?
Deadlift. We did Europe's a couple of years ago. She did 140 for 3, suited, missed the 4th. Yesterday, on Saturday, she did 140 for 11, raw, stiff bar,
Raw.
powerlifting plates. Fucking unbelievable.
That's a good set. What's the max pull at the moment?
Well, most she's done is like 170 raw and 187.5 in the suit.
Okay, great. So she's another one you might be able to tick off as a 200 kilo.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. And but again, just see like, oh yeah, and like the yoke that she did the other day, what was it, 165? Similar to me at the BNSF the other day, like it was just significantly above second place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just so easy for her because she'd just been training a bit of yoke every week for the last couple of years. She's doing like fucking 250 yoke for a couple of sets in training. It's mad, honestly. And she did 105 for 2 stone PB on Sunday. And then Shannon's doing really well. She pulled 210 for 2 the other day.
Yeah, she's going well, isn't she? Deadlift.
Going for the Axel world record on Saturday.
Already did that in training, didn't she?
Yeah, but she's doing it at the Fit Expo, so hopefully
she's going to make it official. Yeah,
97.5 then 100 hopefully. But yeah, she'd been doing great. Like she was kind of stuck at that 200 range on deadlift when we started. She was about struggling with like 80 overhead, like doing 80, but it was ropey. Whereas if you watch her doing fucking 80 now, it's ridiculous on log axle. What she did the other day, I think she did 4 sets of 5 at 80 log the other day.
Yeah, fucking mad strong. Really mad strong.
Good going, that, innit? But yeah, just like these guys following this similar kind of principles, and the key thing is as well, what all these guys have in common is like the recovery capacity. Like it's just people. I've said a bit on my story yesterday that
I was going to say it's like what you said in your story, isn't it? You guys like you and Tim and Joe have done like 3 comps you've done in a space of 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe a bit longer.
Yeah.
Most guys would be wanting to take need a week off before and a week off after.
Yeah.
And you can't even fucking fit anything in.
And that's it. And like, and don't get me wrong, because I'm a bit different to some people. Like my big goal is like the official Strongman Games Worlds in November, and it has been that's all I've been bothered about this year. Even so much as like going to England and that. Like, whereas last year I was like kind of all into it, and that was the kind of peak and the pinnacle for me, because to like establish myself. Like this year, it's about official Strongman Games. So like, I'm not taking any. I'm not like resting before any comps that I'm doing. I'm doing comps to gain experience and blah 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 blah. But I'm not taking like days off. I'm not taking days off my training program. Do you know what I mean? So like last week, for instance, I did some form of deadlift. I think 7 days out of 8. I think I did last week. And then on Sunday, I was buzzing, did the 15-inch axle for 280 for 5. Fucking buzzing. But yeah, the point is that I'll go and like all these guys that are trained, they'll go and compete, and they're keen to train the next day, and they're moving on to the kind of next phase. And yeah, we might have to back off a little bit and give them more of a like skill focus in a session. But the point is, like, if people turn around to me and say they're fucked, or my knee's fucked, or my shoulder fucked, like, it alarms me, and like I have to change things up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're fucking talking shit now. But nice to catch up anyway, Shane. I'll see you next week, bud.
Yeah, solid 20 minutes that, Josh.
All right, bud. See you, mate.
See you, mate.